This is Cashing Out on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you into your Friday, into your weekend here on the program. Big weekend it is in sports. The NBA regular season wrapping up, hockey shortly following suit there. Baseball getting started. We are approaching the 10th of the way there mark. Most teams approaching game number 16 out of 162. That'll hit this weekend in Major League Baseball. But the biggest story right now on your sports calendar, the Masters down in Augusta. We'll get to that here shortly. Got some great guests due up this hour. Our college hoops and baseball expert, Greg Peterson, going to be joining the show. College hoops season is done. Greg's not done coming on Cashing Out because we've got a loaded weekend slate on the diamond to handicap. So we'll have Greg on to break that down. But as we look at what's going on in Augusta, after one round, Scotty's price has been cut in half. Maybe Scotty does know what he's doing out there, huh? Scotty Scheffler, 4-1 pre-tournament, now sitting there at 2-1, despite being in second place, tied with the Swede, Ludvig Åberg, and the Canadian, Corey Connors. Those three, 4 under. Justin Rose, 7 under. A 3-stroke lead on the 3, tied for second. Yet Justin Rose, your 4th shot on the board, plus 750. We mentioned the Swede, he's 6-1. Bryson DeChambeau, plus 650. He had a pretty good opening round. He's currently tied for 5th at 3 under, alongside Tyrrell Hatton. DeChambeau coming off a year where he had his best finish ever at Augusta. Tied for 6th, 2024. This course was his kryptonite for years. Maybe he's got it figured out. The 3rd shot on the board, plus 120 to go top 5, minus 200 top 10. I mean, Scotty top 10 is minus 800. It's laughable. No one else is shorter than minus 250. Even Rory, now minus 140 top 10. Rory had a rough one. He's still the 5th shot behind Justin Rose, sitting there at 12-1. But Rory turned out an even first day after really imploding down the stretch on the back 9. Corey Connors entices me. 18-1. Guy's tied for second. You look at the other 2 guys that he's tied with. Scotty's the favorite, obviously, understandably so, at 2-1. And then Ludvig is the second shot, Ludvig, second shot, 6-1. So Corey Connors being your 6th shot there at 18-1. Obviously, there's some value there. Obviously, it also tells you that the books don't think his great first day is all that sustainable. Some other notable moves. Colin Morikawa, 25-1. Xander Schauffele down at 50-1. And Akshay Bhatia, how about the youngster? 45-1 after a fairly impressive day 1 in Augusta. I could be wrong. Bhatia, I think, is younger than me. He's like a kid out there playing Augusta. That's got to be some feeling. So Scotty, far and away the favorite. We'll see if he's able to repeat. It is a hard thing to do down there at the Masters, but if anyone could in today's game, it's Scotty. We'll keep an eye as the weekend progresses on Rory. And if he's able to get right after a bad first day, there was certainly a lot of Rory backers going into this tournament. And DeChambeau, if he can, plus 650, for a guy who's really struggled with this course, we'll see if he can right that ship, as well as Justin Rose, a guy known for some late in the weekend collapses. He's the favorite, but he's currently he's the leader, not the favorite. The leader at 7 under, currently the 4th shot. We'll see if Justin Rose can prove some naysayers wrong and make some noise out there. Boy, Jon Rahm came into this thing 3rd shot on the board, 13-1. He had a terrible opening day. He is now 110-1. He dropped from 13-1 to 110-1. Down there with the likes of Denny McCarthy, Brooks Koepka. He was 30-1 pre-tournament. He's now 120-1. Jordan Spieth, 100-1. I mean, goodness. Tommy Fleetwood is now a shorter shot than Jon Rahm. Patrick Reed at 80-1 is a shorter shot than Jon Rahm. I think Reed went 1 under through the opening round. So we'll keep you 3 rounds to go in Augusta, 1 down. Hey, folks, want to remind you the VSiN Summer Special is here, and it's the best deal of the season. For just $59, you'll get full VSiN Pro access to everything we do now through August 1st. That's 50% off the regular monthly price. From Augusta to the draft, baseball, hoops, and hockey, VSiN Pro's got you covered all summer long. Sign up now and get expert picks, including all of our best bets for the Masters, exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 video access on the VSiN Watch app, plus our Kentucky Derby betting guide. And when it drops this summer, the NFL betting guide too, giving you a head start on football season. Every sport, every edge, one sweet price. Get full access now through August 1st. Just $59, VSiN.com/subscribe. It's VSIN.com/subscribe. Let's dive into some Friday baseball. We've got an enticing slate. We've gone over quite a few individual games. Why don't we look at some series prices for the weekend, huh? How about the Angels and the Astros? These are two really intriguing teams to me right now because the Astros, as they've done in recent years, starting slow. The Angels' offense looks incredible. I mean, they have, 4 guys with 5 home runs right now? Trout, O'Hop, that kid playing second base, Paris, right? I think Adele with his 2 on Thursday. 2 in the 5th inning for Joe Adele on Thursday. The Angels erupted for 8 in the 5th inning in Tampa. 11-1 win. Jose Soriano, 7 2/3 innings, 1-run ball, gets the dub. And 3 separate Angels, Ward, Trout, and Adele, hit 2 home runs apiece. Adele's just happened to come in the same inning. So you look at this Angels team, and they're taking on Houston. You see some series odds on your screen. Angels are plus $1.85. Houston minus 235. Other series I want to jump into. The Rangers are even money at Seattle. Mariners minus 120. It's the closest to a pick'em. Mets minus 175 on the road in Sacramento, taking on the Athletics, who are plus 140 at home there. But let's look at Angels Astros. Angels are 8-4 on the young season. Houston 5-7. Now I'm not overreacting to records here, right? Not in April. We've talked about that. If you're watching the standings on a daily basis in April, get a hobby or a pet. Try knitting, maybe explore crocheting, maybe get a cat. But don't look at the standings in April when it comes to baseball. We are not even a 10th of the way through the season. So you got the Angels at 8-4, Astros at 5-7. That's all good and well. To me, what stands out is that the Angels have 65 runs scored. The next closest team, actually, the last place Athletics, 56. But they're also playing in Sacramento. 6 of their 13 games, at least, have been in Sacramento, which is a bandbox. So the Angels, even with the Athletics playing in that minor league bandbox, the Angels have 9 more runs than the Athletics this season. They have 20 more runs than the Rangers, 21 more runs than the Mariners, and how about 27 more runs scored than Houston? They're also third fewest runs allowed in that division. So middle of the pack runs allowed. Only team with a positive differential, +9. That's the stuff I'm looking at right now. Not records, it's early in the year. But the Angels, folks, are scoring runs. The Astros have a -10 differential. And, oh, by the way, they have the fewest runs allowed in their division. What does that tell you? Houston's pitching well. They're not hitting a lick. 38 runs scored for the Astros. Let's put that into perspective. The Yankees have scored 82 runs in 12 games. The Chicago White Sox are the only team in the American League that has scored fewer runs than Houston. They've scored 35. Houston has scored 38. Over in the National League, no one has scored fewer than Houston. The Braves, ironically, have also scored 38. So the Braves and Astros, 38 runs. Tied for 29th, tied for second worst in baseball. I think you got a hot Angels team coming in against an Astros team that's not hitting the lick right now, and you can get them at almost 2-1, +185. I think that's worth a look on the series. You might not get as good value to play game by game. I mean, look, game 1, they're +125. That's it. Ronel Blanco's going with an ERA north of 9. Kachanowicz pitching for the Angels. He's been serviceable, 1-0 with a 3.27 through 2 starts. Then you get to Saturday, and the Angels on Saturday are running out Tyler Anderson against this kid Gusto for the Astros. You know, the Astros pitching's been great, and this Gusto kid, he's 26 years old. He's mainly come out of the pen, so he's making his first start for Houston. Out of the pen, 8 innings, 1 earned. But starting's a different beast, and the Angels are hitting right now. Tyler Anderson is no stranger to seeing this Astros lineup. He's been with the Angels for a bit now. And then on Sunday, to wrap the series up, it's going to be Kyle Hendricks against Wisniewski. I mean, neither team has their best pitchers, right? The Astros miss Kikuchi and they miss Soriano. The Angels miss Valdez and they miss Brown. So right now, for me, it comes down to who's hitting better. Well, Kyle Hendricks, we might look at him and say he's old. He doesn't have any plus pitches. 2 starts, he's got a 1.64 ERA. Doing something right. The Astros pitching falls off a bit. Blanco was phenomenal last April. This year, through 2 starts, he's been getting shellacked. So you're looking at each team avoiding the opposing team's top 2 starters. Well, that plays into which lineup is better. And right now, I can't believe I'm saying it, it's the Angels. Astros lineup looks like garbage right now. Alvarez hasn't figured it out. Pena's hardly hitting 100. Cam Smith is striking out more than he's making contact. I think the Angels, even though they're on the road, plus $1.85, good series price in Houston. Hey, VSiN fans, great news for you. It's time to plan your Las Vegas getaway. Circa Las Vegas owner Derek Stevens is offering you 15% off at 3 incredible properties: Circa, the D Hotel, and the Golden Gate. So whether you're at Stadium Swim watching the games or enjoying the rest of the excitement Vegas has, you'll save big with the promo code VSiN15. Book your stay now at CircaLasVegas.com. Code VSiN15, you'll get 15% off. Your Vegas adventure starts right here.
Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you into your Friday right here on VSiN. And with a loaded baseball slate, let's bring in a guy who talks more than just college basketball, ladies and gentlemen. His nickname might be Hoops, but he's also a great baseball handicapper. VSiN's own Greg Peterson joining us via the Progressive Guest Line. Greg, how are you, my friend? I do want to congratulate you on what was a hell of a bracket. You know, you were my least favorite kind of person there for a little bit when you went with the chalky 4-1 seeds. I hate those people, but in this case, man, it was spot on. Did you have the matchup right for the championship game, or did you just have, I know you had Florida winning it all. Did you have the matchup?
I did. I had Houston versus Florida in the title game. We got the Final Four right, the title game correct, and the correct title winner. That was the first ever trifecta for myself, and I'll tell you, I typically hate those people. I pick all 1 seeds as well, but sometimes you just have to do what the situation calls for. This year's situation called for 4-1 seeds, and I was very happy that this was the year in which we did get the 4-1 seeds, or else I would have felt like a moron.
Yeah, I mean, look, we got the 4 best teams at the end of the day. So can't complain with the product we had out there. Let's dive into some baseball handicapping, though, Greg. Something you noticed with this Yankees-Giants game in the Bronx, Robbie Ray opposite Marcus Stroman. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, I mean, with the Yankees, they're a very slight favorite here with a total of 8, and recognize that the Yankees offense hasn't been quite as explosive as they were in the first 2 series of the season, but for the Yankees only be about a -120 to a -125 favorite, and this actually opened up lower. Like when I was writing this up, this was below -120 in some spots. This just feels like a little bit of a lack of respect for the Yankees and too much respect for Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray just has absolutely no command whatsoever. Now, I say this knowing that Robbie Ray at any moment could throw like 7 no-hit innings, but at the same time, Robbie Ray might bean 5 batsmen in a row as well. You never know what you're going to get out of that guy. And for the Yankees, they just hit so much better at Yankee Stadium. We saw what they were able to do against the Brewers towards the beginning part of the season, what they were able to do against the Arizona Diamondbacks as well. Total of 8, I like it over. And Marcus Stroman has not been great in Yankee Stadium as well, so that'll help you out with regards to that over as well. But I also do think that the Yankees have a relatively solid bullpen with the guys like Luke Weaver and company in the back end. I do think that they're going to be able to knock Robbie Ray out of this game relatively quickly.
Yeah, I like that call on the over. That total seems kind of low for Yankee Stadium. Maybe it's got to do with the cold weather. We've seen some unders in the Northeast this past week as it's been really cold out there. But, I mean, these are two pitchers that, to your point on Ray, I'm not really in on either of these two starters. Greg, I want to ask you about the Braves and the Phillies games because those two teams, after a rain delay that exceeded 2 hours on Thursday, they played baseball until damn near 1 a.m. Eastern time Thursday night. Now they both have to leave Atlanta and embark on road trips. For Atlanta, it's a shorter trip. They're going to Tampa, but they've got far from a great pitcher on the bump, Bryce Elder, opposite Taj Bradley, who I love. What do you make of this game?
Oh, I was in on the Tampa Bay Rays even before that massive rain delay, so I just like it all the more. I'd be willing to go up to about like a minus 135 or so on the Rays. Right now, seeing that in the neighborhood about minus 120, minus 125. Bryce Elder is just not a guy that I trust. Like, even if the Braves were like fully rested and everything like that, Bryce Elder, since the beginning of the 2024 season, a hearty north of 6 ERA, he gives up the deep ball. He doesn't have great command. He doesn't have great swing and miss stuff. That's not a great trio if you're a baseball pitcher. And for Taj Bradley, while he's given up a few runs to begin the season, I believe 6 runs over the course of his first 2 starts, he's getting swings and misses. And for the Atlanta Braves, have they been a little bit unlucky at the plate? Yes, they have been. If you look at the hard hit numbers, if you look at the advanced analytics, the Braves have deserved a little bit better than what they've gotten. But now you have to travel after that game wraps up at 1 a.m., which means that they are not going to be leaving until well after 1 a.m. And now they have to head on over to Tampa Bay, which, like you said, not the world's most inclement travel, but it's still travel. And it's still having to get onto a flight and or a very long bus ride and having to travel on over to Tampa Bay. I do like this spot for the Rays, and I do like this total under as well with the way that the Braves just have not hit this year.
How about the Phillies? They've got a little bit of a longer trip. Still not too far, but going from Atlanta to St. Louis. Aaron Nola, normally you feel like Philly would be a bigger favorite when the matchup's Nola versus Palante, but Nola's stunk so far through 2 starts this year. Do you think Philly getting into St. Louis around 5, 6 a.m. is going to hurt them in this spot?
It certainly is going to hurt them a little bit, but at the very least with Aaron Nola, you know that you're going to be able to get some good innings out of him, whereas with Bryce Elder, you just don't know what you're going to get out of him. Like with Aaron Nola, he's not a guy that I value as an ace. I feel like a lot of people overvalue him, but at the same time, Aaron Nola could probably go out there, give you 5, 6 relatively solid innings, does have a career ERA that's right around 4 on the road. This is just, for me, a spot where I don't really want a part of Andre Palante either. The only thing that he does is he doesn't give up the home run ball. For his career, he gets only about 6.5 strikeouts to 3.5 walks per 9 innings. He just hopes and prays that the ball doesn't go over the fence. And with the Philadelphia Phillies, they've hit much better than the Atlanta Braves have thus far this season. Recognize that these guys are going to be a little bit tired, but right now at Circa, where you said that number's a minus 121, if I can get in on less than a minus 125 with the Phillies, that becomes my buy point on them.
And we might as well just stay in the NL East here, Greg. My Mets heading to Sacktown to take on the Athletics in that minor league bandbox of a ballpark. What's your take on this game? Griffin Canning, J.P. Sears, is it a total? Is it a side? What are your thoughts here, Mets A's?
Well, I was loving this total when it was more at a flat 9, even at a 9.5. Now that we're getting to a 10, there's a lot of people are seaming up these totals. I think that they're figuring out our secret that it is a bandbox out there in Sacramento. I would rather be looking at a side. With the A's, I felt like this should be a rather pick'em game because I have no faith whatsoever in Griffin Canning. Griffin Canning was terrible last year with the LA Angels. He posted up north of a 5 ERA, was only getting about 6.8 strikeouts per 9 innings. JP Sears, it's always been a little bit up and down for him, but I do like the way that the lineup is swinging right now for the A's. You've got so many guys like Shea Langoliers, Brent Rooker and company that are able to hit the deep ball. Rooker hasn't even had a good start to the season. It's actually been Tyler Soderstrom, who's a former first-round pick. 6 home runs already this far this season. I know that there was great admiration for him more in the northern part of California, and he has been living up to the billing and then some. I think that Sears might be able to figure out a little bit of something. And then a big reason why I do think that 10 is my drop dead point with regards to this total as well is if you do get Griffin Canning getting destroyed like I think he's going to. The Mets have actually been a top 5 team in terms of bullpen ERA this season. The long relievers like Jose Buto, Max Kranick are actually solid. So I think it could be a case where Canning gets destroyed, but the bullpen saves you with regards to that under.
Yeah, the Mets leading all of baseball in staff ERA. I don't think that's something a lot of people had on their bingo card, especially with Sean Manaea down injured to start the season.
Clay Holmes, our opening day starter.
Yeah, right? And Holmes is a whip of damn near 2. Greg, Cubs-Dodgers, Matthew Boyd. He's been great early on. 2 starts, no earned runs allowed. He's 1-0. Yamamoto going for the Dodgers. They're $2 favorites. Can't really bet that, but anything in this game intrigue you, be it a prop? I'm still waiting to see a price on maybe Dodgers to not bat bottom of the 9th. What are your thoughts on this one, Dodgers-Cubs?
I'd rather take a shot on the run line with the LA Dodgers because you're able to get that on plus money. And as you said, there's just not a lot of value in terms of the Dodgers money lines. And I've actually done the research on this myself personally. If you look at the LA Dodgers, this extends into this year. Since the beginning of the 2022 season, they have won 320 regular season games. All but 57 of them have been by multiple runs. That is north of 81% of their wins. They are a team that has been a machine on the run line. You're able to take that minus $2 and say you get a plus 105. Are you rolling the dice a little bit on there being a one-run game? Certainly you are, and you're going to have a few losses that happen along the way. But if you do this long run, and if you're banking on the LA Dodgers being a one-run win team, like I think pretty much everyone thinks at this point, you're going to come out way more profitable than when you take those minus $2 losses. So I would be looking at the Dodgers on the run line, plus 105 with the way that Yoshinobu Yamamoto has pitched. And for Matthew Boyd, you mentioned it, he's been much better recently, but that said, he's only made about 10 or so starts the last 2 seasons. And having to go up against the Dodgers lineup, I don't envy anyone that has to do that.
Greg, Rangers, Mariners, I don't envy anyone who's got to step in the batter's box and take on Jake DeGrom. He opposes Bryce Miller in this one. That total's coming in at 6.5. Is that just too damn low? What do you think of that total? What do you think of the sides here?
I have to really, really like a total to take at 6.5 under. I really, really like this total under. Jacob deGrom is just that good. And I actually have on my podcast, Baseball Betting Show, part of the VSiN family of podcasts, the pre and post game host Curtis Rogers joined me quite a bit. He does work for the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle ballpark actually suppresses offense more than Coors Field elevates offense. So you put Jacob deGrom in that environment, he becomes darn near unhittable. And Bryce Miller, sub-2 ERA last season at home as well. And the Rangers, for as good as they've been this far this season, the bats have not really gotten online. Adolis Garcia has been allergic to getting on base the last 2 seasons. Corey Seager started to bounce out of his funk as well. If you could get a minus 125 like I'm seeing on the Rangers, willing to look there. But I do think that even though that 6.5 is a really low total, I'm willing to take it under.
Greg, as always, man, phenomenal stuff. I appreciate the time. Thanks so much for coming on, breaking down Friday's baseball slate with us.
Always appreciate you. Thank you, Joe.
Greg Peterson, VSiN college hoops and baseball expert. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at gunit_81. Hey, folks, Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors that ensures that all gambling transactions are approved. That means no usage fees, no minimums. Means you can earn cashback rewards, plus get 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today, edgeboost.bet, promo code CASH. Deposit $25, EdgeBoost will match it. That's edgeboost.bet. We're talking more baseball up next. You don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to miss this. Big Friday slate, 15 games. We're breaking them all down. It's Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo.
Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, getting you ready for your weekend here. Taking you through the late night into your Friday morning on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. And now as we gear up for a weekend on the diamond, taking you over to the Progressive Guest Line, let's talk some baseball. Let's welcome in our friend, senior MLB editor over at RotoWire, Clay Link, into the program. Clay, how you doing, my friend? How have you been enjoying the early goings of this year's MLB season?
Hey, Joe, good to be on with you. It's a pleasure as always. And, I'm enjoying it so far. My Reds, they're not quite fixed all of a sudden with Terry Francona. They're still a work in progress, off to a slow start a bit, but they got their first series win of the year against the Giants, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, they did. It was nice to see Cincinnati on the right side of, a 2-0 win and a 1-0 win that series after losing a couple of 1-0 games in a row to Texas. at Great American Ballpark the series prior to that. And then a little offensive eruption that final game, Nick Martinez opposite Justin Verlander. Let's start right there. Couple of 5-8 NL Central squads. Pirates, Reds squaring off this weekend. Brady Singer's looked great for Cincinnati. What do you make of this game Friday? The Reds 60-cent favorites.
Well, I think with the Pirates coming in, the Reds have a good chance to get another series win here. And yeah, Brady Singer's been impressive. I like how he fits in Great American Ballpark as like a heavy sinker guy. In theory, shouldn't give up a ton of long balls. And I think the Reds have a good chance. They are, of course, down Matt McClain now, though, which is a real bummer. I was really high on Matt McClain coming into the season, but the injuries, man, they just keep piling up for Matt McClain. So the Reds are going to have to make do with what they have right now and maybe get something out of Blake Dunn. Maybe Noelvi Marte sees some action this weekend. But, yeah, I like the Reds tomorrow and this weekend for sure.
But as we continue to look at the Friday slate here, two intriguing teams, the Atlanta Braves, who they're headed to Tampa after, a late night with a rain delay against Philly. And Atlanta 0-7 on the road this season. Tampa Bay, 9 of their 12 games thus far have come at home. Taj Bradley opposite Bryce Elder. What do you think about this game, this series, and the start to Atlanta's season?
Well, I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game tomorrow. I think we all kind of expected Steinbrenner Field to play pretty hitter-friendly, but so far it's been even more offense there than I've expected. I think the Angels teed off for 6 home runs today.
Yeah.
So it is going to be tough for, I like Taj Bradley, but it'll be tough, I think, going up against Atlanta to keep the ball in the park. And then Bryce Elder, yikes. That's a really tough sledding for him going into Tampa Bay. I like Junior Caminero to maybe get hot this weekend. And yeah, Atlanta 0-7 to start the season. No team has ever started 0-7 and gone on to win to make the postseason. Chris Sale looking less dominant, last year's NL Cy Young winner. Of course, the Jurickson Profar suspension really hurts them, but I wouldn't put it past them to somehow sneak in and become that first team to start 0-7 and make the playoffs.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, look, the odds still favor them. They're -$2 to make the playoffs, +170 to miss. It does seem like the NL will be competitive. San Diego is a team I had pinned for about a 500 ball club coming into the year. They're off to a great start. I don't know, do you like the value at least with Atlanta +170 to miss, or do you think they're going to figure it out once Acuna and Strider return?
Well, you hit the nail on the head there. Getting Strider back is huge, and then Acuna, I know he's talked about maybe running a little less, maybe as he gets his legs back under him, he's not quite as dynamic as we've seen in the past, but I do like their chances here. It's still super early in the season. Their prospects don't look nearly as good as they did 2 weeks ago, but it's only 2 weeks. I think Austin Riley will get hot at some point, and Michael Harris will get hot. So, I still think they have a good chance. They were my pick to actually win the NL East, but I wouldn't say that's completely out the window, but I think just more generally for a wild card spot, they have a chance.
Yeah, I was on the Phillies to win that division, although, as a Mets fan, it certainly wouldn't bother me if I'm wrong there and my Queens boys end up pulling it out. Speaking of my Mets, and, we were talking Braves-Rays. Speaking of teams playing in minor league parks, the Mets going to Sacramento for a weekend series with the A's. Short favorites, only 35 cents in the Friday contest opposite the Athletics, who are +115. What do you make of that? Park of this series, 5 out of the 6 games there have gone over in Sacramento. Are we playing overs this series? What do we like?
Well, I'm seeing the over-under for tomorrow at 10 runs, which reflects, like what you said, the offense there so far. Like with Steinbrenner Field, Sutter Health Park is playing very hitter-friendly. I actually, I like the over. I think until further notice, we're probably taking the over in this park because weather's still heating up. The ball's flying there, and I think this could be a good spot for Juan Soto to really, explode, and some of these other Mets who are struggling a little bit, like Mark Vientos, perhaps to get on track. And How about Tyler Soderstrom and the like? Tyler Soderstrom's been awesome, hitting for a ton of pop. And how about Jacob Wilson? Kind of a dark horse rookie of the year candidate in the American League, at least coming into the year. Now he's kind of vaulted up the list. How about 2 strikeouts and 48 plate appearances for Jacob Wilson? It's pretty impressive to see that kind of bat to ball in today's age where so many guys are striking out, batting in the 220s. You had a guy like Jacob Wilson's kind of a throwback.
Yeah.
And I like what he does. And, you know, until I see this team cool off and see the park start to settle in to more normal-ish numbers, I think this is going to be a sweet spot for offense.
Absolutely. Clay Link with us on the Progressive Guest Line now, MLB senior editor over at RotoWire. Follow him on Twitter at ClayWLink. And it's funny you bring up Jacob Wilson and the low strikeout numbers. I was just saying earlier in the show, talking about the monster day Stephen Kwan had on Thursday in the Guardians 6-1 win, how, you know, what he does kind of a lost art. Low strikeout guy, great leadoff hitter, great OBP, great ball to bat skills, or bat to ball rather, as you were just saying. But let's talk Jacob Wilson. It's a perfect segue. Let's talk AL Rookie of the Year. Some people would say it's Christian Campbell's award. Obviously, it's way too early in the season to determine that. But Campbell sitting there, plus 215. Wilson, plus 310. And then some separation. Jason Dominguez, the next guy on the list at 9-1. What do you make of this awards market right now? Anyone worth a play to you?
It's really interesting because I think when we talked a couple weeks ago, Jason Dominguez was the top of the list with the shortest odds, and then when Cam Smith of Houston was announced for the opening day roster, he briefly jumped to the top of the list in terms of betting odds. But yeah, I think Christian Campbell is now looking like the front runner pretty clearly, and it may be tough to dethrone him, but it's not like he's a lock by any means. He's got a good power speed combination, but there are a number of guys. Jack Leiter was looking great before the blister issue popped up. I still do like Cam Smith, but maybe a bit more of an adjustment period for him than I expected coming into the season. And how about this for a real deep sleeper? I mean, prospect heads are very familiar with him, but Jack Caglione.
Yeah.
Of the Royals, not called up or anything, but I mean, the power he displays is unreal. So if he were to maybe get a call up a bit sooner than expected, he'd really pay off.
Yeah, I mean, look, Caglione, if he was on the Royals squad to start the year, would probably be up there with Dominguez around the third shot on the board. It's just a matter of if, not when, he'll make a difference, or rather when, not if, he'll make a difference in this league. Let's look at the National League side of things. Does it surprise you with the slow start? Dylan Cruz still the favorite?
A little bit. You know, he was, I think, the last Major League regular, so to speak, to get a hit this season. Does now have 5 hits, but 5 for 39, batting 128. No extra base hits so far, at least coming into today's action. No extra base hits for Cruz so far this season, and a 299 OPS. I'm a little surprised that he's still up there, but Roki Sasaki of the Dodgers been pretty disappointing. I think the expectation is that he'll be fine and a very good Major League pitcher long term, but struggling with his command and control, and did have a step forward in his last outing, but kind of showing some of these issues that could open the door for somebody else. Maybe like Zach Veen finally got the call. Some people were expecting him to start the season with the Rockies, but they did make that move just the other day. He had his first extra base hit in the majors and first RBI today against the Brewers. So I think Veen, looking at where he is behind Dylan Cruz, Matt Shaw, Sasaki, he has some appeal for his odds. And Bubba Chandler, too. I don't know when he'll be called up, but I expect him to have a lot of success right away in the major leagues, Bubba Chandler.
I love it. Clay, really appreciate the time, the analysis, and the breakdowns. Thanks so much for hopping on, my friend.
Hey, Joe. Good talking to you. Thank you, sir.
All right, Clay Link, senior MLB editor over at RotoWire. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at ClayWLink. Coming up next, more picks, more winners, more cashing out with Joe Ceraulo.
VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you into your Friday here on the program. Been a baseball-heavy hour. Touched on the Masters earlier. We'll reiterate where the leaderboard and the live odds are there. Justin Rose with a big first day in Augusta. He's got a 3-stroke lead on the trio that are currently 4 under, including Scotty Scheffler and the Swede Ludvig Åberg. Justin Rose 7 under, but the 4th shot on the board still at plus 750. Scotty, the favorite, his odds sliced in half. 4-1 pre-flop, 2-1 now going into Friday's portion of the tournament. Åberg, who's tied with Scotty currently, he's the second shot, 6-1. What a fall from grace, Jon Rahm, huh? Third shot coming into the tournament, 13-1. Now 110-1. You want guys who have shorter odds than Jon Rahm right now? Try Tommy Fleetwood. Try Patrick Reed. You and I have shorter odds than Jon Rahm right now to win in Augusta. But hey, how about Bryson DeChambeau? He's down to plus 650. He's making a little push at this thing. This was a course that terrorized DeChambeau earlier on in his career. Last year, 2024, best finish to date, tied 6th. Now he is the 3rd shot on the board, and he's currently tied 5th going into Friday at 3 under. That's your little Masters update. As you know, there will be plenty of Masters talk, including, I believe they take you into the early portion of Friday. They'll be on air. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Jensen Lewis, Dave Ross will be on air as this tournament begins. VSiN by the books coming up after cashing out. And few guys I know love betting golf, know more about golf than our buddy Dave Ross. So Dave and Jensen will have you covered on the Masters as round 2 gets underway. I've got you covered on the diamond. Let's get into some Friday baseball bets. Let's get into the VSiN Daily Morning Bets. We're starting with a total. We are going over 8 runs, Yankees, Giants in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium. Now, this is more of a fade of these two starting pitchers than anything. Like, Robbie Ray has looked respectable to start the year, coming in with an ERA hovering right around 3. This is a guy who's a little long in the tooth for me at 33 years old. He's struggled to stay healthy in recent seasons. I think the Yankees are going to get to him. By the way, Aaron Judge against Robbie Ray, 3 for 8, 3 home runs. Judge to go long is just about plus 210. To me, you can't bet a home run prop that's only 2-1. But Judge has had Robbie Ray's number. The rest of the Yankees haven't. But in that ballpark, a total like 8 feels a tad low. You got Stroman going for the Yankees. Current Giants hitters, 21 for 80 against Stro. He's coming in with an ERA north of 7. How about Willy Adames, the slugger, the newest acquisition for San Fran? 9 of 19 with 2 home runs against Stroman. Haven't seen a home run number posted there yet on Adames. But between Stroman and Robbie Ray on the bump, I feel like 8 runs seems very realistic, very reasonable at a park like Yankee Stadium. Give me over 8 runs, minus 10 cents in the Bronx. And then for my best bet, we're coming out west, Dodger Stadium. Give me the Dodgers to not bat in the bottom of the 9th. Now, the market's been a little slow. I blame the Phillies-Braves game for going until about 1 a.m. Eastern. There's not a big menu yet with some of these games. I'm noticing that first fives have not yet been posted. So under the game props tab, that tab's not even out there yet. So there is no official number on Dodgers to not bat bottom of the 9th. Going off the money line and the fact that they are $2 favorites, I'm going to project this number lives around minus 45 cents. Usually you see anywhere from a 30 to 70 cent better price when you go home team to not bat bottom 9. I have this one coming in around 45 cents. I'm willing to lay 45 cents with Yamamoto and the Dodgers. They're back at home where they're 6-0 on the season. Had a tough road trip. Struggled in Philly, in D.C. Barely escaped a sweep at the hands of the Nationals. But they're back home now where they're 6-0. They're just 4-4 away from home, 2-4 in true road games. Yamamoto has looked really good through his 3 starts early in the year. Remember, he had that extra start in Tokyo, so he's a little further along than most pitchers. Matthew Boyd has been sensational for the Cubs. No earned runs yet this season. Feels like this is the spot where Boyd comes back down to earth a little bit. Give me the Dodgers to win it without a walk-off, not batting in the bottom of the 9th. That's my best bet for this one in LA. And of course, best bets, folks, brought to you by our friends at G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. G-Bank's up in the ante with up to a $750 bonus for new G-Bank Visa Signature Card customers. First, new customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from the account opening receive a $250 bonus. Additionally, if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within the 30 days of your account opening, you'll receive another $500 bonus. That's potentially a $750 bonus. Apply now, vsin.com/gbank. Subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions, of course, apply. Something else that stood out to me this weekend, Major League Baseball, and I don't know if we're calling it a best bet, but it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on. The Angels series price in Houston. The Astros right now have the second fewest runs scored in Major League Baseball. Through 12 games, they've scored 38 runs. That's tied with the Braves. Only the White Sox 35 runs have been worse. The Angels offense has been absolutely explosive thus far in the young season. The Angels, 65 runs scored in the American League. Only the Yankees and the Red Sox have scored more. And those are, of course, inflated and aided by an 18-run output for the Sox against St. Louis and a 20-run output for the Yanks against Milwaukee. The Cubs have scored 96 runs. They've also, had that big explosive eruption in Sacramento, and they've played 15 games because of the Tokyo series. I mean, the Dodgers, who have played 14 games, have just 69 runs, just 4 more than the Angels in 2 more games. Point being, Angels offense, really damn good. 3rd most runs scored in the American League right now. So you're looking at a series. Now, I know that they're on the road, but the Astros are running out Ronel Blanco, who's got an ERA north of 9 through a couple starts. They're running out a reliever Saturday. I don't know if he's going to be a starter or an opener. Then Wisniewski, the kid who's yet to figure it out. They got in the Kyle Tucker deal. You're avoiding Framber. You're avoiding Hunter Brown. Now, for the Astros, and this is to their benefit, they're avoiding the Angels' 2 best pitchers, Yusei Kikuchi and Jose Soriano. But if you're going to eliminate each team's 1 and 2 pitcher, and you're going to go 3-4-5 versus 3-4-5, I think that benefits the team with the better offense. Right now, that's undoubtedly the Angels at better than 5 runs per game, while the Astros are hardly better than 3 runs per game. So no aces for either team on the bump, no 1, no 2. It's going to be a battle of the back end of 2 rotations. I think even on the road, the piping hot bats of the LA Angels can win 2 out of 3 from Houston or better, plus $1.85 to win the series. That's my favorite series underdog price of the weekend. I mean, just had 6 home runs in Tampa on Thursday on their getaway day. Joe Adell hit 2 in the 5th inning. Absolutely remarkable stuff right there for the LA Angels. So that'll do it for the VSiN Daily Morning Bets, folks. I did want to take a quick look at some NBA odds, see how the standings look now with the conclusion of Thursday night's games in the books. The NBA standings are absolutely nuts. Minnesota beat Memphis, and that created a 3-way tie, 6, 7, 8. The Warriors were the beneficiaries of that, as they I don't even know what the tiebreaker is, but on the tiebreaker currently have the 6 seed. The Grizzlies are the 7, Minnesota's still the 8. But Memphis and Minnesota both 47 and 33. They would play if that holds in Memphis. And hey, Minnesota just beat them by double digits in Memphis. So the Western Conference standings, you got the Nuggets and Clippers as the 4 and 5 seeds, 48 and 32. Then you've got the Warriors, Grizzlies, and T-Wolves, 47 and 33. I can't believe this too. Looking at the odds to win the conference, the Nuggets 50 cents shorter some way, somehow, than they were a day ago. They were 8-1 a day ago, now plus 750 in the post-Malone era, the post-Michael Malone era. Can someone make that make sense? I don't think this Nuggets team is going anywhere. Folks, that'll do it for another edition of Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo. But hey, Don't forget, the great content at VSiN never ends. How about VSiN by the books? Mentioned it before. Dave Ross, Jensen Lewis, 7 a.m. Eastern. They're going to have Lou Finicaro, our buddy, on to give his best bets for UFC 314 this weekend. Followed, of course, at 10 a.m. Eastern by a numbers game. Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidling, keep it moving during the Masters. Kelly, of course, one of the fantastic 3 co-hosts of VSiN's golf podcast, Long Shots. And then Money Moves with Stormy Bond and Tony at noon. Special thanks to our fantastic producer, Jared Moore, our terrific guests, and the rest of our incredible crew on the other side of the glass here. Johnny, Fenhouse, Jarens, couldn't do it without them. That does it for Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo. We take a 69-hour break. See you Sunday.